What's up and good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to another video. Starting off today by giving all the chickens some bread. The geese, well, one goose, the other one's in there sitting on some eggs, but there's some bread for y'all. Bon appetit. Surprised the donkeys haven't spotted us yet giving out bread. Oh yep, Willie never misses a meal here, huh buddy? Eat up now, buddy, because your donkey friends are coming over there and they don't like you. For whatever reason, Willie is always the odd donk out. The other ones will, if they come over, they start to kind of push him away. You gotta get him his food first. And then we got the goats coming down right over here. Hurry Willie, they're coming. They're coming, buddy, they're coming. There you go, goats. There you go, some bread for you guys, some bread for you. Everybody gets bread. See, oh, Willie getting ready to kick over here. What's up, bubs? Yep, that's good bread, huh? Everybody like some bread? There you go. Oh, well, sorry. There you go. Bread for everybody. Bread for everybody. We break bread with friends. Yep. There you go. You need some too. Now that all the animals are happy, let's jump back on the hunting blind, which is pretty close to completion. However, I always seem to pick the worst days to do things, and you can see behind me there's a light breeze right now, which still isn't ideal, but it's been pretty windy today, and it's the day that I plan on painting this thing. So my plan is I'm gonna spray everything white and then come in and just roll on the surface black, right? So similar to what you see right here, where I didn't actually wrap the trim with the paint black. Reason being is it's gonna be really quick and just get it done versus trying to come in and cut all of these edges. Benefit to this being at my own house is I can get away with that. For this type of work, I think it's gonna actually work out well, especially considering most of this is gonna be done from a scaffolding. It's not gonna be fun to do. However, being that we're gonna come in and paint, this wind kind of sucks because we're just gonna be eating paint all day as it's just gonna blow back at us and not on the wall. Where are you going? Why are you running off? Willie, we don't eat poop, bro. What are you doing? Willie, spit it out. Spit, what are you doing? Willie, there's a turd hanging out of your mouth, guy. It's not like I don't see it. Willie, get that out of your mouth. Thank you. Willie. This is why I don't want kids. This is it. Apparently Willie likes Big Walt's poop. Who knew? Now, one of the downsides to spraying is we gotta mask off everything because there's gonna be overspray everywhere. And trust me, I've gone back and forth in my head the last like 2 or 3 days about whether I should just brush and roll this and call it good or spray it. The only, oh geez, now the wind's really picking up here. We might just go back to rolling it instead of spraying it, because God, it's just not gonna be worth it in this wind. Tell you what, we're gonna try one side here. Let's try one side with a roller and a brush and see if it's worth it. Otherwise, we'll then go ahead and mask everything off and eat some paint today. The one thing I'm not looking forward to painting is everything up underneath here, because obviously there's just so many corners and edges. So I'll probably spray everything here. Again, the plan is everything that's wood right now is gonna be painted white, similar to that right there, the white fence over there. It just brightens everything up. I think it actually does look halfway decent as wood right now. Obviously we gotta seal it. I could use some type of clear sealer on it, but paint I think is just better at this point. It looks more finished. So I bought a 5-gallon bucket of paint here because I had anticipated spraying. And you use more paint when you spray depending on what you're doing, but it's also easier to do it out of a 5-gallon bucket than it is to try to put your sprayer into 1-gallon buckets. But now if I'm gonna hand roll this thing, I don't really need to do it out, but whatever. We got the paint poured in our little paint tray. Let's see how much I'm gonna hate life here. And again, I'm gonna paint the sides of this trim right there because I'm just gonna end up rolling the fronts black. So not too worried about spreading this on the front here. It's all gonna get done with black. We're doing the lighter color first. That way when we do this in black, it hides all this. I don't know, this might not be too bad. Just getting in all these little grooves here that I figured would be annoying, but might not be the end of the world, guys. It might be all right here. Just make sure we don't get any paint that wants to build up in there and then run out later and we miss it. Obviously this is the smallest wall, but most of the other ones are full of windows, so I think this is the technique we're gonna go. A couple times the wind was blowing so hard I thought the paint roller tray was gonna fly out of my hand, so I think it is just best that we do not switch over to spraying it. We'll end up spraying everything underneath, but for now let's just get this done. And then I'm gonna spray the eaves as well at some point, because again, that will be miserable to try to get up in there and paint with all those corners, but it'll be easy because we'll be able just to tape off the entire building from here down, spray the eaves, spray underneath on a non-windy / rainy day. Well, yesterday I worked as late as I could until I just couldn't see anymore and it was too dark, and well, very, very happy with how this turned out. Let's take a little step back. Whew, almost fell. Don't mind all the crap that's on the deck right there. We're doing some inside work right now, but look how good that looks. Oh, I'm loving it. I cannot wait till we see all of this painted white, but the weather, as you can see, has just not been cooperating to keep painting. So I've opted to move inside because we've got another storm coming tomorrow. I feel like we're on like Groundhog's Day. Every single video, it's like, yeah, all right, race to do this because big storm coming. So yeah, that's gonna happen, but just take a look at how good that looks. Whew. Glad we went with the black and white. I think it looked cool. I do still need a caulk in here. I just didn't have the caulking and I wanted to get the painting done. I can come back, caulk this, and if the white caulking doesn't match, then I just touch it up with a little bit of touch-up paint. But this was my little trick I was talking about with just painting the sides white and just doing the face black. Saved a lot of time. First trying to cut in along this rough surface. Could have taped, caulked, and painted that side, but now if we ever want to do touch-up, super easy. We're just painting or rolling on the face here, and then we can just mash some white paint in on the side. Most people wouldn't even notice that detail. Knowing that the next couple days are gonna be very rainy, I'm gonna try to get the drywall up today because that I cannot be outside cutting, and I don't want it to get wet. So I went back and forth on insulating this because, I mean, it's all windows already, and what is insulation gonna do that much? It stays plenty warm in here. However, it's the heat that now I'm kind of worried about. But we are gonna leave it open up top. I don't think I'm gonna do anything on the ceiling, and then those little areas right there are gonna be left open as well. Just, you know, I've spent enough on this place. I feel like we gotta start reeling her in. So I'm running around throwing some insulation. You'll see we've already got electrical in as well. Just been busy trying to crank out the inside here. So I know I didn't film a ton of stuff going on. I just wanted to work, and it's kind of tight in here with all this stuff that I need to clear out. Good thing is though, I had some leftover insulation, and you can probably see my nose is dripping a little bit. This stuff is probably the best insulation I've ever worked with. This is what I use in the guest house. It's basically sealed on both sides. Obviously, once you cut it, it opens up a little bit, but being that it's sealed all the way around, it just makes it much more of a joy. You're not super itchy at the end of the day. You can breathe somewhat normally if you have allergies like I do. The easiest way I have found to cut insulation, and don't mind this roll being a little jacked up, it was stored outside and something ate it, is to basically sandwich it in between two pieces of wood. So let's get our length here, 46 and a half right there. It's a little cramped on this deck for this, but we'll make it work. You take your other piece of wood. The more you sandwich it, the better. I've seen guys that make like a little hinged thing, basically put a hinge over here and then they just guillotine it down. And then the more squished you get it, the better chance you have of getting through it all in one shot. Don't even think about it, goat. Don't even think about it. So the goats found out about insulation when we did the guest house, and apparently they have a hankering for it, so we got to keep it away from them. Far away from them. In typical fashion of these videos, not gonna have enough time to get to the drywall today, which means we're gonna be playing drywall in the rain. We'll probably be cutting it in the guest house garage and then trying to run it over here and not get too wet. Thankfully, they're not giant pieces. We got 12-footers in there though, so those suck to work with. But we will do our best. I gotta run to the warehouse. We gotta do all of the work for it orders. Thank you to all of you guys that jumped in on the work for it cash giveaway. You guys are freaking awesome. I appreciate every single one of you guys that support our company, Work For It Apparel, and the Work For It movement, promoting pride and blue collar work. You guys are freaking awesome. So I gotta run to get those orders all done because, as you guys know, we're the fastest shippers in the game and we take pride in that. We don't want anybody waiting for their orders. So to the warehouse I go. We jump back on in the morning when this storm starts raining hard. And we're back. The storm passed through yesterday. It was way more than I wanted to even try to do drywall work in. You can see, I mean, look at this big old puddles of water sitting everywhere. Ton of water, and mostly we had like 50, 60 mile an hour gusts while it was just dumping rain like crazy. So it got a little bit wild, but we're in the guest house garage here. We're gonna grab, I have a bunch of extra sheets of drywall, so we're gonna try to slide these out away from all of this stuff, and probably cut the sheets down to size here, put them in, and then I'll cut the windows out once it's installed. I'm not a drywall guy by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not good at it. If it was anything more important than a hunting blind, I would hire my friends that do it better than me, but for something like this, you know, if it looks like crap at the end of the day, it looks like crap at the end of the day. But there's no point in hiring somebody for something that small. And drywall guys are definitely a different animal. If you guys have ever seen a drywall crew run through a house, it is impressive. The most impressive thing alone is the fact that they're so good at just cutting and bending and snapping the drywall, because your boy is not good at that. No cheat. Well, this 12-foot board's about to do it itself. All right. Should probably cut this from the backside, but whatever. Okay, we got one piece cut. Oh, guinea hen's over here seeing what we got going on. Move a little bit of our mess out the way here. Tight squeeze. I've gone back and forth on whether or not I want to actually drywall the insides of the windows, mainly because, again, I suck at drywall work. So the more corners and angles you put in, the more you gotta mud, the more you gotta sand, and the more you gotta hope actually comes out decent. Whereas if I just did like window casing and I did it out of like some type of wood or MDF or something, I can use my carpentry skills, which I am much better at than drywall. But I'm gonna go for it because I need to practice. This is a good place to practice, so we're gonna wrap the insides of the windows. So I'm basically taking my cutoffs here. Don't mind that little jaggedy swoop right there. And I'm cutting all my interior pieces, and then we're gonna put our corner bead, which I hope I have enough corner bead. I have some left over from the guest house garage. So hopefully we got enough, but there's gonna be a lot of corner bead. There's a lot of windows. This wall is gonna get shiplapped because I have like extra 6-foot pieces of shiplap that really I can't do anything sizable with. So this is honestly the perfect wall for it. Now I'm going back and forth. Do I drywall first, then shiplap? Or do I just save myself the headache and just shiplap it? But let's keep going here. Take this piece. And I know you drywallers who are much better than me at this can basically just take your tape, and maybe I can do it like this versus how I was doing it earlier, but we need 3-inch rips, so most drywallers put a little weight there so you don't move away from me. You'll just take your knife and, all right. It's a lot easier now than it was when I was trying to hold this piece up earlier, but that's how most drywallers do it. I don't think I went deep enough though. Let's see. I'll just do a, second pass, won't hurt. All right, a little snap. All right, cut a little deeper. There we go. Okay, this should fit in here. Now it doesn't need to come all the way out to the corner, flush out and be all like perfect, because our corner bead is gonna hide that. Also not putting a ton of screws. 3 is more than enough. And if you guys are ever doing drywall work at home, you've never done it before, you don't want your screws to go all the way through and break the paper. You'll see some of these got a little deep because that Hercules is just too strong. I noticed in the last video, this was not in it for the second half of the video, and everybody's like, oh, it must have broke already because you don't have it, and if you don't have something in a video, we think it doesn't exist anymore. But no guys, this is actually in my gray truck because I took this to let Dave use it because I wanted to show him how cool this tool was, and unfortunately the gray truck broke down, so this was just stuck in that truck until I went and got it. Now that that rant is over, let's cut us another piece for our top.
All right, that goes yonder.
Drywall is all up, and I'm glad to say that. I'm still on the fence on this side about drywall. I don't mind that insulation that's falling out. The fireplace is going to show up in the next day or so, and I want to make sure it fits because I made this opening based off of a rough opening from a fireplace I was going to buy on Amazon, and then unfortunately that one is completely sold out and discontinued, so I had to find the one that had the closest rough opening size. So until I make sure this fits, we're not closing that wall up. But we've got this wall sealed up, that wall sealed up, this wall sealed up. Now I'm going around and putting my corner bead on all my windows, which is just this piece of metal you see right here. And we just basically cut it to fit. This is why you don't have to be so concerned about these corners lining up perfectly. In fact, it's better to keep them back, because if you shoot for perfection, kind of like on this side, and you end up with a piece that sticks out a little bit further, that's going to fight you more than if you were just to hug it back just a little bit. These pieces go right here, and then depending on how you want to do it, you can screw it like so, but you better make sure that screw is down there, or I'm also just running around with my finish nailer and just shooting these in. I think drywall guys, I believe, actually use like little staples. I don't have a stapler, but we'll make it work. So that goes on like that, and then it provides a little raised edge. I don't know if you guys can see that right there, but that edge is a little bit proud of the wall on both sides, and that gives you an area to skim your mud in here and build up that corner. I mean, that's the plan if you're decent at drywall mudding, which I am not. Then on this wall, because we opted to push the door forward so that it would flush out with the front here with the actual siding, and then when we put our trim pieces, it flushed out versus having the siding plus the trim, and you have this big block right here on the front door. We brought the drywall out to the edge, and then we're using this edge metal to basically finish off that edge. This all ends up getting painted the color of the wall, and then similar to that corner bead, we mud it. It provides a little bit of a raised edge, gives you room for mud. That way we don't need any door casing. It's actually one of like the ways they're doing a bunch of modern houses these days. They're getting away from doing door casings. They're doing it like so. Some people like it, some people hate it. We're gonna go 81 shy. We'll go 80 and 7/8 instead, actually. 80 and 7/8. Just using some tin snips to cut this. Pretty simple. And then we can kind of use this to straighten that edge if you're just a little bit off. So you can see how the reveal down there is a little smaller than up here. We can kind of shift this a little bit to where you want it. And then again, you'll see that'll basically give us the look of where door casing would be, but much smoother. As much as I'm not a fan of hanging drywall, that's, I don't want to say the easy part because it's easy to do it bad, but mudding, it's a whole nother animal. Once you start, like, it can just go south very quick. It's like working with concrete. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, things can go south really quick. But we're about to find out how south they can go. We've got some 20-minute mud right here. I've got 40-minute as well. I should probably use 40, but I'm impatient. And if you guys have seen, anytime we've ever done drywall work out here, for whatever reason, drywall mud just takes forever to dry. I don't have that kind of patience. So I've also got a box of all-purpose, which is like the pre-mixed joint compound. I've never used that stuff. I was actually kind of looking forward to using it, but it says it takes like 24 hours between coats. I ain't waiting 24 hours. So we're gonna not use that. We're gonna start with the 20-minute here, which we have to mix up. And it's not the funnest stuff to mix because I'm not doing it in a bucket with a paddle mixer or anything. I'm actually doing it inside of my little trough. I don't know, is that the technical term? My trough. We're gonna do our best. If it looks like crap, we have a backup plan. I mean, not really a backup plan, but we're gonna try to hide it. There's a bunch of different drywall finishes you can do, right? You can do a smooth finish, which is usually the most expensive finish, because if you can find a company that can do it right, they're gonna charge a lot for it, because there's no, you can't hide imperfections on a smooth finish. Then you've got a skip trowel finish, which is similar to the guest house stucco, but obviously that's like an extreme version. On stucco, obviously, skip trowel shows up a lot more than drywall. It's more subtle on drywall. Well, you'll notice if you ever looked at tract homes or homes that are put up quickly, poorly, whatever, they always have like some type of orange peel texture on them. And depending on what state you go in, I looked at some brand new homes being built in Arizona, and holy crap, they use such a thick orange peel, it almost looks like they're stuccoing the walls inside the house. And the reason they do that is because it hides imperfections. The reason I'm gonna do that is because it'll hide my imperfections. So I've actually used this system in the past. Hold on, it's in the bag here. We've got this Easy Pro texture spray gun, as opposed to a gun with a big old hopper on it where you mix the mud, throw it in there. And then it comes with, well, not comes with, you have to buy these little squeeze bags of texture. Now, if you're doing large scale stuff, obviously you don't want to spend a bunch of money on like $8 or $9 bags of texture. But for small stuff like this, it's ideal. I've done little jobs for customers before where I've touched up some stuff with this exact gun. Where I put it, couldn't tell you, so I had to buy a new one. All right, we'll mix up some mud. So you know we're true drywallers. We're making a mess. Now it is no fun mixing of these things. No, we need a lot more water there. And we're gonna wanna mix it up pretty wet for what we're doing. And getting it mixed up good to where there's no dry clumps in it, kind of like when you're mixing cake batter. You don't want dry clumps because when you go to put that on the wall, it's just gonna give you all kinds of issues. So you really gotta get up in here and mix it good. Which again, not ideal inside the trough like this. All right, we're gonna mesh tape up our seams because you know we're all pro. Oh, you stay. So because I'm not a pro, you know, there's a couple of corners that are a little off, so I'm gonna pre-fill those with some mud just to let that start drying up, because the thicker it is, the longer it takes to dry. Now between these two windows, we're basically just gonna float from metal to metal. So we have about a, I don't know, 1/8 to 3/16 of a difference right there. So we're just gonna fill that with mud. We'll run our knife along both sides there and float all that. I guess typically when you're doing seams like this, you'd float them out further, but I'm just gonna keep it below where this is, and then once we do this one, it'll hide all this. We'll go ahead and fill these screws that are out in the field. Anything right along these edges. Oh geez, I just realized I forgot some metal there. How did I do that? Anyways, anything right along these edges, when we go to float around these windows, again, you want to float where that edge metal is and get it back to this elevation, right? So you're kind of feathering out these elevation changes, and it's basically kind of what you're doing with drywall. Again, I'm not a professional. In fact, I suck at it, so I probably shouldn't take my advice. But even when you're doing seams like this, like you can kind of see how it dips in the center right there. You just basically want to float out everything, right? Make it, you don't want to see a big hump here, hump in, hump out, or anything like that. So you want it to fill everything in, float it all nice and smooth, and make it look like one big cohesive piece of drywall all the way around. Now the thing with obviously using 20-minute mud is it goes off pretty quick, so made a little more than we could use in time. You can see it's starting to get really dry there and hardened up. Obviously that doesn't spread good, so we're gonna throw that out. We're gonna mix up another batch. On these inside corners, I'm using paper tape, which is right here. And paper tape actually comes pre-creased in the center there to make that 90-degree corner. So I'm just kind of mudding it up first, then I cut the tape to length, pre-fold it, set it in there, and let the mud hold it, because obviously this doesn't have adhesive on it like the mesh tape does that we used on the seams right there. Now I've been watching a couple of YouTube videos on doing windows. Honestly, I really just watched one, but say you want your drywall mud here pretty soupy. Just getting out the last couple of lumps in here. So this is pretty wet. Now one guy that I watched was like, oh yeah, you always do the outside first. So let's just start with the outside first. And yes, I'm already covered in drywall mud. So let's see, he was pretty adamant, still a little lumpy. Let's get all the lumps out, at least what we can. That's where mixing with a paddle would come in handy. Which way did he do it? Oh, all right. Not ready to work with the big equipment here. Oh, stay on there. This mud is very wet, so you gonna see kind of flies around. Let's see. Let's do a little bit of that. Now I know there's a lot more to it, but that's kind of the gist of it there. We a little low in the center there. And we're gonna do this at least twice, so don't mind if there's a little spot like that. Which that right there, you can see that's when we get a dry spot in there, which is right there, that little dry flake. Once you go to pull that, it drags and then leaves a nice divot like that, which just makes your job harder later. And then you gotta come back and you gotta sand all that out. Oh, ho, ho, we screwed that up. Alright. Not looking horrible, guys, not looking horrible. I did a horrible job mixing this, though. Now again, this one, we're gonna need a lot of mud for. Probably gonna burn through this whole trough, but we're basically floating. Oh, well. Alright, we're gonna be mixing some more mud. I don't know if this is gonna be enough to do a pull like I would like. Oh, jeez. We're losing it, guys. I told you it can go south fast. It's currently going south fast. That's why I sub out my drywall work. I can do little patches, but something like this. Oh, dude, there's so much dry stuff in there. I done screwed up, Aaron. Oh well. This is why we're gonna texture. Trying to fill in that hole right there. Try to get this top piece up here. Oh man, I totally forgot about that piece still. Oh well. Yeah, that's bad. Very, very bad. Very, very bad. We're gonna call that good for this coat. I don't want to add too much there. It's wet, soupy. I don't want it to start to drop on me. Let's kind of feather that in. I mean, I feel like it's not looking horrible. Like, right? Like, we could save this. Well, it was a battle, but I think we've got something that's, I wouldn't call it good, but I would call it acceptable for a hunting blind. Everything is taped and mudded. Spent quite a few hours in here today knocking this out. I will say, I thought my windows were gonna be the hardest, and I'm like, man, of course, the hardest thing to do, there's like 50 of them in here. Turns out, once I got through these windows, I got to this one, I feel like I had the window part down decently. It was these dang inside corners that were pretty tough for me. We'll have to practice some inside corners more later, but we still have to sand everything down. Then we'll do a little bit of touch up if we find any holes or anything like that. And then we will go through and texture everything again to hide the imperfections. I feel like we could probably get away with not texturing this and it would be okay. It'd definitely be better than a lot of job sites that I've seen with professional drywall guys. But to the real drywall guys out there that are actually good at this, man, I commend you guys, because there is nothing fun about being a drywall guy. The material sucks to move. 12-foot sheets of drywall, they're two of them freaking taped together. There ain't nothing fun about moving drywall around. And then the mudders and tapers, which used to all be one person or one crew, nowadays they split it up. Anybody that's good at this, like, kudos to you guys. I mean, maybe if I had more practice, I'd be more confident in it, but they make it look so easy. I did do one thing though. I got covered in drywall mud and I made sure I spilt enough on the floor to at least like kind of be close to being a drywaller. And I know this is 20-minute mud, however, it has been on the walls here for a couple of hours and it is still not good to sand. It just clogs up. The sandpaper right now is still just a hair moist, so we're just gonna have to let this sit overnight and come back in the morning. But I gotta say, it is feeling pretty sick in here, seeing the walls all nice and drywalled. The light colors, you're not looking at bare framing anymore other than this wall. And again, the fireplace should be here at some point later today. So tomorrow I'll jump in making sure the fireplace fits and then we can run the shiplap up this wall, finish everything off in here, and get closer to calling this thing done. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not subscribed already, please click the subscribe button now that you do not miss out on any future content. Don't forget to give this video a like, get a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out workforapparel.com. So if there's anything you want in this life, you gotta be willing to work for it. I'm gonna have to you know, go swing by the warehouse and grab me a new hoodie because kind of destroyed this one with drywall mud. You guys are the best. I'm out.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah.